Welcome to episode 3 of creating your dream overall dress. In part 1, we designed the dress, and in part 2, we fit the front and back of the dress to fit us perfectly. Now, we're going to actually attach the pockets and assemble the front and back so you can wear this. Now, if you haven't done part 1 and 2, head to the description and I will have links there for you to find the first episodes of this series, okay? So if you've already done the first 2, then let's jump into assembling and putting the pockets on this dress. The first thing we're going to do is prep the top edge of our dress for both the front and the back. So to do this, we're going to fold over the top edges over about 1/4 of an inch and iron in place. Then once we have this ironed in place, we're going to stitch along this, make sure everything stays in place. Sewing this edge can be a little tricky because it is so narrow. So just go slow and take your time. Now, if you'd like to practice sewing straight before you jump into this, check the description. I'm going to link to my worksheets for practicing sewing straight and sewing curves so you can practice, build your confidence, and when you feel ready, jump into sewing this edge. Perfect! Now that everything has been sewn, we're going to iron it so it looks nice, flat, and professional. To add patch pockets, like we're going to do in this design, the first thing and the easiest thing to do is to just grab a piece of paper and sketch out the shape of the pocket that you want to create. Now, I'm making a rectangular-ish pocket for my project, but you can make whatever shape pocket you want, okay? That's what's really fun about paper, is you can play around with things and see how they look. Now, once you draw out a pocket shape that you're happy with, you can cut it out and actually pin it right to the front of your project. So here I'm pinning it to the front of my dress, and then once I pin it on, I can actually try this on and see how it looks. You can play around with this paper shape until you get a pocket that you love. Once you like the shape, then it's time to trace it onto fabric and cut it out. Now that we've cut out our pocket, the next step is to edge stitch all the way around the outside edge. This will ensure that our pockets don't unravel as we wear and wash this project in the future. Then after edge stitching, we're going to fold the edges in 1/2 inch like this and iron in place. All done ironing? Good. The next thing we're going to do is actually stitch along the edge of the opening of your pocket. So whichever side of your pocket is where you want to be able to put your hand in to be able to use the pocket, that's the edge we're going to sew. So sew right along this. Then, once you've sewn that, it's time to place these pockets on the front of our project. The first thing I want to do is find the center of the front of my project. To do this, I'm going to fold it in half and put pins along the fold. That way, when I unfold it, I know exactly where center is. Now, I can line up my pockets evenly on both sides of the center line. This is where you're going to want to be very precise. So measure what you need to, line everything up nicely, and once you have your pockets in position, pin them in place. That way you can try this on and make sure that these pockets are in the exact right position. Okay, got them in a good position? Perfect. Now let's sew them on. Now, just before we sew this, I want to remind you this is a pocket. So we are going to sew around all edges minus the edge for the opening, also known as the side that we sewed earlier, okay? If you sew all the sides, you're just creating a patch, not a pocket. We need to leave one side open so we can actually put things inside, okay? So once you know exactly which sides you're going to be sewing, you're just going to sew right along the edge of the patch pocket around all sides, again, minus the one for the opening. Okay, you have everything sewn. Now you should have a real pocket that you can use. Now that the pockets are finished, we're going to take the back of our dress and lay it directly on top of the front, right sides facing on the inside. Then we're going to line up the edges on the side of our dress and pin them in place like this. Once everything's pinned in place, we're going to sew the side seams using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Once you've sewn both side seams, we're going to actually press the seams open. To do this, lay your project right side facing down, and then just open the seam like this. Then iron the seam open all the way along the length of the seam. This makes your project look much more finished and much more professional. So once you've finished ironing open the seams on both sides, it's time to look at the hem. For the hem, we're just going to fold the bottom edge up 1/2 inch, iron it all the way around, and then once we're done ironing, we're going to sew this hem in place. This dress is really coming together. In this episode, we learned how to sew on patch pockets, sew the side seam, and finish the hem. All that's left now is the straps, and that's exactly what I'm going to show you how to do in episode 4. So if you would love to be the first one notified when any new videos drop, including the straps video, then be sure to hit subscribe below. And if you have any questions or concerns or confusion about this video, let me know in the comments. I love hearing from you guys and I always want to improve my work. So this has been Abby here at DIY Fashion Rebel, and I will see you again in the next episode. Bye guys.